Queen Rhaenyra of planet Koresh was known across the galaxy as the ruler with the strongest voice, the sharpest presence, and the most uncontrollable temper. Her people respected her, feared her, and trusted her strength, but they also whispered that her temper was destroying her future. The Royal Council told her many times that she needed to choose a mate soon to help stabilize the energy that flowed through her insect-like body. Without balance, the core inside her chest would burn too hot with every outburst, shaking the palace and sometimes even the mountain around it. But every suitor she met ran away. Some hid behind guards, some fainted, some left the planet before meeting her face to face, and some simply stood in front of her and trembled so badly she ended the meeting early. None of them understood her. None of them saw past her voice, her size, her armor-like body, or the vibrations her emotions created in the air. She never hurt anyone. She didn't even want to. But she was tired, overwhelmed, and alone. Anger was the only thing that escaped her when her heart felt too full, and the pressure became too much. On the day the humans arrived as neutral diplomats, Rhaenyra felt the same pressure again. Another group of visitors, another group who would bow too low, speak too softly, and fear her too much. She took a deep breath that made the walls hum. Her attendants stepped back. Even the ceiling lights flickered when her emotions stirred. In the large hall of the palace, aliens from several species waited to meet her. The humans stood among them, smaller in size, but standing upright with steady eyes. They were new to this part of the galaxy, and their purpose was simple: create peaceful connections. They had no interest in power, no desire to rule, and no wish to marry alien queens. They were only here to show goodwill. Among them was a young engineer named Eli Morgan. He wasn't a warrior. He wasn't a diplomat. He wasn't even used to grand palaces or alien royalty. He was simply a man who liked to see new things, solve problems, and help people. When he heard he would get to stand inside the great Koresh palace, he felt excited. He never imagined he would cross paths with the queen in a way no one else had before. As the visitors waited, a strong vibration filled the air. The floor trembled under their feet. Some aliens covered their ears. Others bowed instantly. The queen was coming. Rhaenyra walked through the tall golden doors, her insect-like legs moving with heavy power. Her tall body shimmered with deep black and emerald colors. Her eyes were bright and sharp, glowing like blue crystals. When she stepped fully into the hall, the air changed. Everyone felt it, like a storm waiting to break. She was already stressed. The aliens dropped their eyes to the floor. A few whispered nervously. The queen tried to greet them, but her voice accidentally came out too strong, and the window shook. The suitors backed away, even though she had not spoken to them directly. Rhaenyra saw their reactions. Her chest tightened. She hadn't meant to shake anything. She didn't want to appear dangerous. But her emotions rose too quickly, and she could not stop them. "I mean no harm," she tried to say, but her voice echoed loudly again. The aliens stepped even farther back. Only one figure didn't move. Eli Morgan looked up at her with open, surprised, human eyes. Not afraid, just curious. He saw everyone retreat, but he didn't understand why. The queen wasn't attacking. She wasn't threatening. She simply looked troubled, stressed, like someone carrying too much weight on their shoulders. Rhaenyra noticed him immediately. A human, small in size compared to her. Yet he didn't shake. He didn't drop his gaze. He just watched her carefully, like someone trying to understand, not escape. Her heart thumped harder. The vibration spread through the hall. The guards clenched their hands nervously. The queen's calm was slipping again. "Leave!" she ordered the room. Her voice thundered, even though she didn't mean it to be loud. "All of you! Leave!" The suitors ran. The diplomats rushed out. Even the guards moved toward the door, but Eli didn't run. He stayed standing in the center of the hall, and the queen stared at him, shocked. "Human," she said, her voice still heavy but trembling slightly. "Why do you not leave? You saw what happens when I am upset." Eli swallowed nervously but kept his voice steady. "Because you look like you need someone to stay." The hall fell silent. The Queen's entire body stopped moving. No one had ever said such words to her during one of her storms. Everyone always assumed she was dangerous, even though she never harmed anyone. They assumed her voice meant fury, her size meant destruction, and her vibrations meant threat. But this human, this small man, saw something else. Rhaevyra took one step toward him. The hall shook with her weight. Eli did not back away. He looked up at her with calm brown eyes. "Do you not fear me?" she asked softly, and for the first time, her voice did not rumble or shake anything. "Should I?" Eli asked honestly. She didn't know how to answer. She didn't know what she wanted him to say. Her emotions tangled inside her, heavy and sharp. She lowered her head a little, the glow in her eyes dimming. "I do not wish to hurt anyone," she whispered. "But my emotions, they are too heavy. When I feel overwhelmed, I cannot hold them inside. This body, this power, it reacts too fast." Her throat tightened. She turned away, trying to hide the rise of heat in her chest. The vibrations in the air increased again. "I do not want you to see me like this. You should go." Eli shook his head. "No." The Queen turned sharply toward him. Her armor-like plates clacked. Her eyes widened. No one had ever told her no. Eli stepped toward her slowly. He moved like someone approaching a frightened animal, not a monster, not a queen to fear, just someone in pain. "I don't think you're scary," he said. "You look tired, stressed, lonely." Her breath shook. The palace lights flickered. "Do not come closer," she warned, but her voice sounded weak, not threatening. "When I lose control, the air shakes, the walls tremble. I do not want you harmed." Eli didn't stop. The air around her buzzed with unstable energy. Her emotions were rising too fast again. Her hands trembled. The temperature became warmer. She wanted to scream, or maybe cry. She wasn't sure. No one had ever seen her like this. No one had ever dared stay near her when she was overwhelmed. Eli reached her. Rhaevyra squeezed her eyes shut, expecting him to step back at the last second, to run like everyone else, to fear her, to avoid her. But instead, she felt something she never expected. Human arms wrapped gently around her waist, a soft touch, a warm embrace. Her eyes opened in shock. The vibrations stopped immediately. The heat inside her chest calmed. The entire palace went silent. Eli's voice came out quiet, soft, steady. "You're not a danger. You're just hurting. Someone should have been beside you long ago." The Queen stood frozen. She had never been hugged in her entire life. Her people didn't show affection that way. Her suitors feared her too much to get near her. Even her attendants kept their distance when her emotions rose. But this small human, this fragile creature, held her. Her arms slowly, awkwardly moved. She didn't know how to hug. She didn't know if she should, but her body leaned very slightly toward him, drawn by the strange comfort. Her voice came out in a whisper that barely filled the space between them. "Why, are you doing this?" Eli didn't answer right away. He simply let her breathe, let her feel calm, let her feel human warmth for the first time. Then he said, "Because you needed someone brave enough to stand close." The Queen's eyes softened, glowing faintly. The storm inside her faded. She felt peaceful. Something she had not felt in many years. Even the halls seemed to breathe quietly after her emotions settled. She stepped back slowly, studying him with wide, confused eyes. "Human," she said gently, "your courage. It is unusual." Eli smiled slightly. "Humans are strange. We get close to the things everyone else avoids." Her chest warmed. But not with overheating power, with something gentler. She looked at the doors, then back at him. "I want to speak with you," she said quietly. "Alone." Eli nodded. For the first time in years, the Queen of Koresh requested a private conversation not out of anger, but out of curiosity. The guards watched from outside the hall, whispering in shock. Word spread through the palace faster than light. The human had touched the queen. The human had calmed her. The human had stayed beside her when everyone else fled. Inside the empty hall, the queen took one more step toward him. "Come," she said softly. "Walk with me. I want to understand you." Eli followed her without hesitation. And that was the moment. Quiet, unexpected, impossible. When the entire future of planet Koresh began to change. The queen did not roar. She did not tremble. She did not shake the palace. She walked slowly, peacefully, with a human by her side. Something no suitor had ever achieved. Something she had secretly wished for, but never dared hope. Someone who saw her not as a monster, but as someone worth staying close to. Queen Rhaevyra led Eli through the quiet corridors of the palace, her heavy steps echoing softly against the crystal walls. Usually the halls shook when she walked with strong emotion, but now the air around her felt calm. Her energy pulsed gently instead of wildly. She kept glancing at the human beside her, still confused by what had just happened. No one in her life had ever wrapped their arms around her during her storm. No one had stayed close. When she looked at Eli, she didn't see fear. She saw something warm, understanding. It made her feel lighter, even though she didn't fully understand why. She brought him to the palace gardens, where tall, glowing plants shimmered like small suns. The air was warm and smelled like sweet minerals. Here, her emotions used to make the flowers explode into bright colors, but this time, the plants glowed soft blue, showing her calm. Eli looked around in awe. "It's beautiful." Rhaevyra watched him instead of the plants. She had heard that humans used simple words to describe big things, and she liked that he didn't try to sound impressive. He was honest, direct, clear. "You are not like the suitors who came before you," she said softly. Eli smiled awkwardly. "I'm not a suitor." The queen tilted her head. "I know. That is why this is strange." Eli raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "Because I hugged you?" Her wings twitched slightly, an instinctive movement she couldn't stop. "No one dares touch me. When I rage, my body becomes unstable. I fear losing control." "Then someone should have stood beside you long ago," Eli said simply. The queen stared at him, unsure how to answer. Her people always praised her strength. Her suitors tried to impress her with power, but this one human saw something none of them did. He saw the loneliness she always hid. They walked deeper into the garden until they reached a quiet pool of silver water. The plants around it glowed brighter when she stepped near. Eli noticed their reaction. "Do they respond to your feelings?" She nodded slowly. "Yes. They mirror me." Eli pointed at the blue light. "Then you're calm right now." She looked at the pool. Her reflection shimmered. A tall, strong queen with armor-like plates and crystal eyes. But next to her reflection stood a small human with soft brown hair and simple clothes. For the first time, the image didn't look strange. It looked balanced. "I do not understand this calmness," she admitted, "but it feels good." Eli sat down near the water. "Maybe you just needed someone who didn't run." Rhaevyra sat as well, carefully lowering her large form beside him. She never sat with others. She always felt too big, too loud, too intense. But Eli didn't make her feel that way. She studied him. "You did not panic when I shouted." "You didn't shout at me," Eli replied. "I shouted at everyone." Eli sighed. But you didn't mean to. I could see that. The queen blinked. You saw that? Your hands were trembling, Eli said gently. It looked like fear, not anger. Fear. She had never used that word for herself. She always believed she had to appear strong, unshakable, powerful, but deep inside she knew she feared something, being alone, failing her people, letting the energy inside her spiral out of control. It has been many years, she said quietly, since anyone tried to understand me. Eli didn't speak. He simply waited for her to continue, something no one else had ever done. My council wishes for me to choose a mate soon, she said. Without balance, my core becomes unstable. My rage shakes the planet. My emotions affect the energy storms that travel through our land. Eli listened carefully. So the suitors are supposed to help you control that power? Yes, but they only fear me. They try to impress me with strength, or they hide behind their guards. None of them try to understand my heart. Eli chuckled softly. I don't think they ever saw your heart. The queen looked away, embarrassed by how his words warmed her chest. After a few long moments of silence, she looked at him again. Why did you hug me, human? Eli rubbed the back of his neck. Honestly? Because you looked like you needed someone to stop the storm. A storm caused by me, she reminded him. Still a storm, he said softly, and storms calm down when someone listens. The queen felt something shift inside her, something gentle, something she had not felt in decades. She looked at him differently now, not as a visitor or a diplomat, but as someone who had stepped into her darkest moment without fear. The palace lights flickered slightly. A guard appeared at the edge of the garden and bowed quickly. My queen, the guard said nervously. The council wishes to know if you are safe. They heard the hall tremble. The queen stood, her tall form rising gracefully. I am safe. Tell them the human stays with me. The guard's eyes widened, but he bowed again and left quickly. Eli stood up as well. I don't want to cause trouble for you. You are not trouble, she said firmly. You are the first person who has been calm near me during a storm. He laughed a little. Well, humans aren't perfect, but we're stubborn. Her eyes glowed brighter for a moment, amused. I have noticed. They walked out of the garden, but the calm followed them like a soft wind. Later that day, the queen called her council to meet in the throne room. Eli stood beside her, not hiding behind her, not acting unsure, but standing naturally, like he belonged there. The council members whispered nervously. Some were shocked. Some were uncomfortable. Some stared at the human with disbelief. Is the human your suitor? One council elder asked. Eli coughed in surprise. What? No. But Rhaevyra raised her hand. He is my guest, and he will remain near me. He has proven valuable. The council exchanged worried glances. My queen, with respect, the human cannot help you control your core. He is fragile. He is too small. He is brave, Rhaevyra interrupted. Calm and honest. No one had ever heard her defend someone so strongly. The council bowed, though still confused. For the next few days, Eli stayed near the queen. He visited the gardens with her, walked through the palace halls, and listened as she explained the energy of her world. He asked simple questions. But his curiosity made her smile. She even laughed once, quiet and soft. The guards froze in shock. They had never heard her laugh. Eli helped her understand small things too, breathing slowly when emotions rose, speaking gently even when stressed, finding humor in things that annoyed her before. She didn't know why, but his presence kept her stable. One evening, as they stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing landscape of Koresh, a loud alarm rang across the palace. The sky darkened. Bright red clouds swirled above the mountains. Energy storms crackled through the air like lightning made of pure light. The queen's expression changed instantly. "The core storm," she whispered. "It is too early. My power must be unstable again." Eli frowned. "What happens during a core storm?" "If I cannot calm my energy," she explained. "The storm could break the mountain. It could harm the city." The wind grew stronger, carrying wild vibration. The queen's hands trembled again. "I cannot control it alone," she said fearfully. "This is why I needed a mate. This is why the council pressured me. My emotions feed the storm." "And what keeps your emotions stable?" Eli asked. She looked at him helplessly. "I do not know." But Eli did. He stepped forward and placed his hand gently on hers. Her vibrations stopped instantly. Her eyes widened. Her breath steadied. "You calm when someone stays," Eli said. "So I'm staying." Rhaevyra stared at him. "Eli, this storm is dangerous." "So are a lot of things," he said. "But I'm already here." Slowly, Rhaevyra closed her eyes. She took a long breath, focusing on the human warmth near her. The storm above them flickered. The red cloud softened. Eli squeezed her hand. "Focus on me, not the storm." She did. Her energy slowed, her core cooled. The sky began to clear. Lights across the palace steadied. The storm slowly dissolved into soft gray clouds. The guards and council watched from below in awe. The human had calmed the queen again, this time saving the entire city. When the storm ended completely, Rhaevyra looked at Eli with something he had never seen before. A soft, glowing admiration. "You," she whispered, "are the balance I searched for." Eli felt his face warm. "I'm just a guy who doesn't like seeing people hurt." The queen stepped closer. "Your presence changes me. My emotions settle, my storms quiet. You stand with me when everyone else runs." Eli lowered his eyes for a moment, feeling shy. "You're easier to understand than you think." She gently placed one hand on his shoulder. "Human, if you stay on Koresh, if you stay by my side, my future would change. My world would change." Eli looked up at her. "Do you want me to stay?" Her voice softened with certainty. "Yes, not because you are strong, not because you are a suitor, because you see me." Eli nodded slowly. "Then I'll stay." The queen exhaled, a sound filled with relief and gratitude. She stepped closer, towering above him, but her presence felt warm and gentle now. "Then hear this," she said softly. "From this day, I choose you to stand beside me." Eli smiled. "And I choose to stay beside you," the guards whispered. The council stared. The planet's glowing plants turned a gentle blue across the entire valley. Queen Rhaevyra, once feared for her rage, stood peacefully beside a human who understood her storm better than anyone else in the galaxy. And for the first time in history, the queen felt not feared, but truly seen.